have a timing belt failure on this Audi A4. It's a 2003. And we're going to pull the cylinder heads off and replace them to get this car back up and running. It's a pretty big job. Already getting started here, getting the bumper removed. I take the whole front end off, and we'll come back and when I get a little more done. Alright, got the lock carrier off. That's what it looks like with the front end removed. You just disconnect everything, unbolt it, and it comes off out of the way. Gives you full access to fix destruction. Alright, now you can see that the belt has completely snapped in half. It's kind of shredding apart. Looks like it's got sucked up into this camshaft. Stopped the motor from being able to run. But yeah, there we are in the timing belt system. We'll keep digging, pull the heads off. Alright, so we're several days later. After pulling the heads off. It's a little bitty motor. 3.0. The heads make it look really big and it's really complicated and all that stuff. But this is where we're at, waiting on the cylinder heads from FedEx. They should be here today. But we got a mound of parts. Trying to keep everything somewhat organized. The old cylinder heads. We'll leave them together until we get the new ones to transfer all the parts. But today, while we're waiting for the cylinder heads to show up, we're gonna lock the motor with a special tool that you need to set the timing belt up. We're just gonna get that started. So reposition everything and we'll be back. Water pump. Get you guys in there. You gotta take this out of the way. With those two Allen head screws, you can barely see it all rusty. And we'll get this guy out the way to take the plug out the block to install the tool. Biggest ratchet in town. And it is exactly how you expect Everything is difficult, and nothing's easy to come off. Is that saying the same thing twice? Anywho. Like sports cars, this is how it is. Alright, let's see. Now, remember where the dang bolt's at. It's right there. Get another tool. It's been on and off a few times this day. Bigger Allen head. You gotta make sure you get it in all the way, because you strip it out, you ain't never gonna get it out. You'll be having to pull the motor, and we don't want to do that. So there's just a little plug. Whoa. So this is the toolkit you need to set the cam timing. Audi 3.0 AVK. It's a 5 valve. We'll get into the cylinder heads later. Cam locks, adjusting tool, a little pin, and your crankshaft stop, which is what we're installing right now. That's what we took the plug out for. We're gonna put this in, get the crankshaft locked, and be ready for cylinder heads. Alright, you can see I got the little auxiliary water pump kind of out the way with the pry bar, and you can see the little, there it is. There's the hole we were looking for to put the crank lock in. Alright, so we have the lock partially in and our wrench 15/16. It's a, what do you call that, star 12 point. And if your timing belt broke, you're going to want to run your lock in till it touches the crank, and you're going to try to move it back and forth, and you're going to want to turn the crank until you get that lock pin completely seated in the block. Fortunately, unfortunately, on this car, I've already been in here a few times with different problems, and I have the crank and the timing cover marked because this motor seems to be a problem. But we're going to keep trucking at it, and we'll get this bolt ran in. You can actually see, well, I can see the crankshaft kind of moving. Tighten it down a little bit. The crankshaft doesn't move, and I know that I'm way in there. You can take it loose. Take it loose a tread or two. And it moves back and forth. We just lost the tool, but it's locked in. I'm gonna tighten that bolt back up, and next we'll be building the cylinder heads. I don't know if you can see, but there's the tool seated in the block pretty far. Looks good. Also, there's two locating marks on the crankshaft. I'm not sure if those are in the service manual as a reference, but I don't read the service manual unless it's a torque spec or a bulk way of removing something that's going to take several hours. Just to get an overview. But yep, there we are. There it is. And yes, we're going to change the water pump. Just because, even though it looks new, every time. These water pumps like to leak. And I do use air tools on everything. Just not in a hurry today, we're closed. And it's quiet. I kind of like it. I don't remember where I got this from. For all I know, it's a no-name Chinese water pump. Going back with an Audi reman. lot of writing on it, made in Germany. I don't want to have any leaks. Nice and pretty. Alright, we got the bolts all cleaned up the OSHA approved way. Just going to throw a little bit of, well, this one's, that can don't work. Put a little bit of penetrating oil on there so they're nice and lubed up. They go in the cylinder head, block, whatever it is, nice and easy. And let's glue that on. And you guys are quick. But you take a minute. Alright, let's get all this bolted up. Just dropped one of the nuts, one of the bolts. Make sure your gasket stays in place. That's it, take a lunch. So now get the water pump on. We're going to pin the hydraulic belt tensioner. Just like that guy. We got the tool that comes with the kit. It looks kind of chinky. Oh Lord, we're moving a car. We're going to have to that booger's on there. We'll do that a different way.